Hi, I'm Alessandra, and I am talking about developing the own identity and helping the children to develop their own identity if you or they have multiple origins coming from different countries, so the parents coming from different countries or having different roots, different ethnicities. And today's topic is religion, which after the last topic about the political form of government seems again a bit strange, but I think it is very important to be aware of the influence that a religion can have. And I'm not talking about the religion itself. Of course, every religion is influencing every person who is part of that community, of that religion, part of that church. But I would like to go a bit deeper. So if you follow me in my thoughts and you just take off the God-related part of religions, I know it sounds a bit silly, but try to follow me. So whatever religion you take, just let's take out this God or gods, goddesses, whatever it is. What remains, and what for me are all religions are, is a sort of structure that tells you about the morals you should have, about the values you should have. And of course, today we all are talking about the Christian values and all those values. Yeah, because religions were founded, invented, God sent. Just let us bring him here again for just this moment. Whoever invented or brought or made them, they were born to give us a certain set of rules about the values. I'm coming from a Christian background, and if you look at the 10 commandments, for me from 3 to 10, if everybody in this world would follow those commandments from 3 to 10, because the first two are really God related, and we said we will, just for this game of thinking, get away from this concept of God, just the other ones. They are giving very basic rules on how to behave, and if everybody would just stick to those commandments, I think the world would be a perfect place.
Because you are supposed not to murder, not to kill anybody. You are supposed not to lie, not to betray anybody. You are supposed not to be envious, this green-eyed monster. And you should respect the elders, in this case, everybody, which is then the concept of love thy neighbor. And then, which is also a very good thing in my opinion, relax on one day of the week. If you call it Sabbath or if you call it Sunday, whatever, it's one day where you just relax and be with your family and enjoy the day and your life.
And as a child sitting in the churches, and of course children don't listen that much to the priest when he talks about whatever the speech is for this Sunday, half an hour or 20 minutes. It's boring for children. And so for me it was always nice to look around in the church and see all those statues and pictures. And all those pictures and statues, not only of, in the Christian sense, a Jesus Christ on the cross and the Holy Spirit and God, but in the Catholic Church you also have all the saints, and you have Mary. And even if women are oppressed in the Catholic Church also, for me as a woman, having Mary being part of this holy group, let's say, was always helpful, because it was at least one woman we could address to. Sometimes it's so, you know, it is an easy thinking, or not even thinking, it's just subconscious. And the first time I went to a Reformed church, evangelic, or however you want to call it, I felt this church, and thus the religion, as cold, which of course was the purpose of Martin Luther, because he wanted to get rid of all these embellishments, and that you could get rid of punishments if you would publicly admit that you had done a sin. So he was really wanting to get to the nutshell of the religion, which is good in the concept. But for me, the difference was that in the Catholic Church I had some warm representations of people, and there was always something to see, and I felt this God as warm and forgiving, and I felt the evangelic God as cold and you know, not really forgiving. It was more a patriarch and not a kind grandfather, let's say.
I must add, and I am aware that I'm again privileged here, even though I've been to a monastic school with nuns, just like in Blues Brothers, remember? I grew up with a faith that was not making me afraid. So there was no threat of Satan and hell, but I grew up with a loving God, a forgiving God. And this for me is also again influencing your identity. Is the religion giving you a warm, cozy security, or is it a controlling, strong and sometimes mean force? I think that makes a big difference. And this is why I personally think, and you might have your own opinion, but I think you can often enough tell if a person has grown up in the Catholic Church or in the Reformed Church within this whole group of Christian churches.
I can't talk about the other religions because I didn't grow up with them. But I think also those little things influence you when you grow up. And it does something to you, and it becomes part of your identity. So if I am a member of the church or not, the values which I grew up with from my grandparents, my parents, from the whole community, those values are Christian values and they are Catholic. And this is influencing everybody's identity. And I think if somebody asks you, where are you from, or who are you, describe yourself, present yourself, I guess in most cases people will not say, I'm believing in this God, but it is a part of your identity. And maybe not in the very first sentence, but in a later step, this will be a question. Which God are you believing in? Are you Jewish? Are you a Muslim? Are you a Christian? Are you a Buddhist? Are you whatever? Atheist? And this influences also your personality, your identity. And I also think that living in these modern times where we become more and more liberal, maybe a part of one big country where there's exactly this fight happening between the liberal world and the conservative world. And sorry, but I'm not convinced that it's a question of values, it's a question of power. And this is also why, in my opinion, some Orthodox churches are becoming even more restrictive, because they want to save their power and to make sure that the people of their communities don't become liberal and don't get out of the churches. At the very end, it's, I mentioned it already 2-3 times, like this color of the skin topic, where I hope that at a certain point we all will have mixed up so far that we all have a skin of the color of cappuccino, and then we're done with racism. The same thing for me is valid for religions. I think at the very end, if there is a God, it is, or a goddess, let's call it the power of the universe, but there is one, and this one power is not Christian, and it's not a Muslim, and it's not a Jewish power. It is a global, universal power. And all the interpretations that were founded or written are just male interpretations of what they want people to do. And there is also, at a very high level, a power game, in my opinion. So this, if you don't do this and that, you will not enter paradise or nirvana or Jannah or Olam Haba. So I don't believe in this concept of forcing people to be brave, to be good. I think people should become good because of their values and because they think that they believe in it.
A few weeks ago, I saw a documentary where 5 young Muslims that were about between 20 and 25, 26, something like that, 3 men and 2 women, they tested their DNA. So they sent the samples in all together, and then live they got the results. And they were from very different countries, from Morocco, from Egypt, from I don't know the other countries, but they were Muslims. And what they received as results about their DNA was, of course, of Northern African and Western African and Eastern African and partially Asian and partially Southern European, which everything of that makes sense. But all of them had a part of Jewish blood. It's not the fact that they have it, which surprised me. The point is that Jewish is somehow written in the DNA, which is strange because it is a religion, right? And I know that within the religion, so it is passed within the families by the bloodline of the mother. But how is a religion written in the DNA? I don't understand this. This is a really an open question. I don't know. But it made me think, if 5 out of 5 young people of the Northern African area had Jewish blood.
And we know that there are some, let's say, people in the Islamic world, as in all churches, which are very orthodox, and they are also against the Jewish people. I would love to check their DNA, because I guess then they might have some too. But again, it all comes back to my strong belief that you should leave people be. There's no good out of hate. Why do you have to hate other people? Why do you have to hate women? Why do you have to hate people of other races? See my formal videos. Why do you have to hate people of other religions, of other countries? Why? We are just all humans, and can't we just live together and respect one each other? So, at the very end, I think there is one universal power, and I hope that at a certain point all those churches and religions will just disappear, and all people will have the respect for each other and appreciate the individual identities of other people and stop the power games. But this again, I guess, will take a few years. Okay, so I hope you liked today's topic. It was a bit difficult. I think you might have felt it. I tried not to say anything harming or offending anybody. I never want to offend anybody. But yeah, I hope you liked it. I hope I inspired you to develop your own thoughts. If you did, please leave me a like. Please subscribe to my channel, and as always, be kind.